And then even the OGs that we grant, see, it was corny if you didn't gang bang. You don't bang. If you don't do the squares. I mean, they kind of protected a couple squares, but they really was recruiting niggas to just be degenerates just like them. That is not anymore. And that's what we're trying to change. So you're right. Absolutely. We didn't respect. You was a square, you was corny. But you not, man, go smash them hoes. Man, let's go bend some corners, let's do a road trip, fuck a bunch of bitches. No. And what the brothers is trying to do, especially right here in the manosphere, is tell, hey man, that didn't work out for us. Now that we looking at it, it's like, God damn, that didn't really work out. All that did was create a whole bunch of baby daddies, pay the state a whole bunch of child support situations, a whole bunch of dissension between the men and the women, a bunch of motherfuckers that ain't got no jobs, ain't got nothing, don't got two nickels to rub together. It didn't really work out for us to try to tell the little homies to go out there and be cool.
I think that we're in such an age today that is a complete behemoth of social influence. It is very difficult not attempt to go after your desires if you are a young person, 16 to 18, without no guidance, without no mentorship, no safety rails on the side, training wheels to ensure that you don't try to indulge in all these endless desires that are out there that sometimes even surpass what is even on the surface of our phone. Access is so readily available, and I think that is the bigger issue that we're trying to fight. We're trying to remove the access out of the hands of young people who have a desire for certain things in their life, and things are just one click away, one Uber drive away, right? And sort of how do you contend with that when you don't have enough people interjecting in these young people's lives at a certain point to kind of add those safety guardrails to ensure, because we know a lot of them have to go through the struggles before they self-improve. A lot of them are going to crash out before they pick themselves up and try to start over again. You know what I'm saying? I just think that right now in this specific time and moment that we have a lot of challenges to try to keep young men focused.
But the challenge is that there's no fathers in the home, right? So the father should be the most influential individual that these young men encounter. And so what we're doing is we're trying to be a bridge to these young men because they don't have a father figure that can talk to them about these things. So they've already attached themselves most times to the entertainers and those people that are in high positions that we don't necessarily garner. And so I can just remember, like, as a teacher, them seeing me as somebody that's a man that's black that's teaching, right, and teaching math. That was something very different and very new to them. That I used that as an opportunity to not just teach math, but also teach life, because most of my students didn't have a father figure, right? And so every student is not doesn't have that opportunity. So I would say that going forward, I think the single mothers that don't have a really good relationship with their baby's father, that they need to do a better job of finding mentorships that can get them early. That's just my thoughts.
I wanted to add to this. Now, this is some real stuff. So as a man who got married at 19 years old, I got disrespected a lot by men, particularly older men. And I'm going to tell you why. The first thing that I would hear is, you ain't got no experience. You ain't never done nothing. You don't know what it's like to be out there. So it's kind of conflicting. And I'll be honest with you, like, some of the conflicts that I've had in my life have been because I'm in a domain where there is dominated by older men in business and life and what I do. But the experience in terms of me running through people, I just don't have that. I got married at 19 years old. So I've noticed, though, that while we preach to young men, we want you guys to be as disciplined and as focused as possible. We say that in theory, but in practice, we don't respect men like that. Typically, we respect men who got bodies, who ran the streets, who've got something that we deem as masculine. So I think that now, if we're going to preach that we want men to be disciplined and we want them to focus on their purpose, we don't want them to spend their time exercising their sexual desires. Because when we're talking about desires, that sexual part, especially you 15 and up, that's like, I mean, you'd be ready to hump anything, anything, right? So we're talking about that. If we're going to teach men or train men or suggest to men to focus on your purpose, on your goals, on your ethics, on business, so on and so forth, then we also have to respect men like that, because men are looking at that as well. So you can tell me to be something, but if when I see you interacting with a man who's done that and he doesn't get the same respect, and I'm talking about the real respect, like when you look at him, you deem him as a man that's qualified to be respected and heard. We got to talk about it, but then they got to see us respecting men in that manner as well. And I'm saying this because it's something that I heard all of my life, and I didn't get that respect until later on in life, when people are like, you know what, I'm glad you did what you did, and I respect the husband and father that you are.
So, Sir Hill, that's the failure of my generation, though, and that's the narrative change that we're having right now. You're right. Me, all my homies, everybody that's 50. I graduated high school in '89, so I'm your fathers are my homies. And and then even the OGs that we grant, see, it was corny that if you didn't gang bang, you don't bang. If you don't do the, the squares. I mean, they kind of protected a couple squares, but they really was recruiting niggas to just be degenerates just like them. That is not anymore. And that's what we're trying to change. So you're right. Absolutely. We didn't respect. You was a square, you was corny. But you not, man, go smash them hoes. Man, let's go bend some corners, let's do a road trip, fuck a bunch of bitches. No. And what the brothers is trying to do, especially right here in the manosphere, is tell, hey man, that didn't work out for us. Now that we looking at it, it's like, oh, damn, that didn't really work out. All that did was create a whole bunch of baby daddies, pay the state a whole bunch of child support situations, a whole bunch of dissension between the men and the women, a bunch of motherfuckers that ain't got no jobs, ain't got nothing, don't got two nickels to rub together. It didn't really work out for us to try to tell the little homies to go out there and be cool. Great like point. We thought that would work. Now, nerding up is kind of cool. Now, coding is cool. Now, the guys that's focused, hey man, stay focused, bro. Don't worry about it. I got you covered. That's you're right. We did do that, but it's a narrative change that we're trying to have right now.
So, what is it about us culturally that makes us feel like we have to do these type of things? This only really happens in the West, right? There's many countries, if you go a little east, and they can get married young. They never really feel like they have to sell their wild oats ever, and it works out. Marriage rates are sometimes
when
longer.
you say east, what do you mean? Let's be
specific. Like let's say like South Asia or something, right? South Asia, right? They're getting married from 20 to 25 years old and stuff like that. So go ahead. What you got?
I would say it's based on their religion. They actually exercise their
religion does play a big role in part of it.
Also, major cultural differences, attire,
that's a piece
around sexual behavior, like it's entirely different.
So fellas, so and I was hoping you wasn't saying Asian culture, because I'm gonna be real with you, bro. Who been to Japan? Who been to China? Bro, let me tell you something, man. Them dudes get married, those men get married, and they marry those wives and they tell them to stay home, and guess what they do? They at the geisha house. That's actually, the geisha house is basically where they do a lot of their business. So it's like, I guess when you say Eastern culture, that's fine. I'll even say, if you want to even dive into the Indian culture,
because they're not the only one. Yeah, because that's a different one. And then you have
but
even in the Middle East and stuff too.
Like Shan hit something that's powerful. He said that the times are changing, and this is what's so wild. And that's a great point, Shan. Actually, the dude that's got a lot of knowledge and that knows a little something at times is the one that's most desirable. And that's because of the wave that's come from social media, from all these people like out here trying to get this money. Like getting money right now has now become the in thing. So it's not like, and then the women come after the money. Like it's a little different now. That shift has happened. And what I've seen is, because I've been to these other countries, and actually I've seen them come here, and I've seen them in other places, they wild out, man. It's not like that. Like we see certain ones that do that, and it was kind of back in the day, like when Shan said we was wilding and go hit all the women and do all that. Well, back then that was like the end thing for them. But right now, I see a lot of people from a lot of other nationalities that are buck fucking wild. I'm telling you.